weeks ago, actually 2 weeks ago to the day, do you ever get that feeling? Do you ever just get the feeling like you know that something is going to happen before it happens? Especially in sports. Like, when Joe Burrow went into Alabama and you just felt like you knew that LSU was going to find a way. That's how I felt. 100% how I felt. Like last year when we were in fall camp and Jaden Daniels is going off and like a split of a hair, I had a feeling inside my bones like I was Bruno Mars that this man might win Heisman. Or when Paul Skeens is up for game 3 and walks to the bullpen and you're like, man, we ain't freaking losing. We just won a national championship behind the back of Dylan Cruz. Do you know those feelings? It could be the smallest sign possible. The smallest sign possible. But I think I've had it here today. Bryce Kuhn from 247 Sports posted walking into LSU player media availabilities, and Brian Kelly has got that practice facility rocking, anticipating the crowd noise that will be at Kyle Field. Something's interesting, man. You never really look at the small details and say, hey, man, well, LSU played better last week. I wonder if this is how Brian Kelly gets his team better throughout the season. Can LSU go into Kyle Field and lose? Yes. But I got to tell you, on this fine Tuesday evening, I'm starting to get a feeling. Maybe even a special season tingle. I'm not going to go that far yet. I don't know if this team can win it all. They got tons that they got to prove here tonight, and we're going to get into that. LSU versus Texas A&M. We'll get to that preview here tonight. Areas that I've looked at A&M and think that LSU can combat that and do some good things against them. Some areas that A&M is really good in and that LSU is going to have to be prepared for. We'll talk about that tonight in our LSU versus Texas A&M preview. Chris Gordy joins us, Locked On SEC, has his own radio show. Y'all know who it is. The alum Chris Gordy joins us at 7:30. So looking forward for Chris rejoining us. Chris joined us in the beginning of the season in what was one hell of an interview. So I'm glad to have Chris Gordy back and joining us tonight. That's going to be really fun. We'll talk about the LSU A&M game. We might go around a little bit around the SEC. Who knows? We'll ask questions at the end. Hashtag Ask Blake. Thoughts, questions, concerns. You can always fire them inside the Rudy Crew chat. And you know what I'm going to ask you. Where are you listening to from tonight? Big show last night, man. I can tell that you are feeling the same thing I'm feeling, just in the sense of that how many LSU fans are back watching, listening, tuning in, engaging. I know that y'all have this feeling like, hey, man, if LSU goes out there and beats them Aggies on Saturday and gives them an ass whooping, that you're going into a bye week. Bama looks beatable. Florida might fire Billy after they get creamrolled by Georgia. Was going to say something grosser than that, but I didn't have the heart to do so. Then you got Oklahoma. All right, Vandy. Okay, all right. Don't sleep on Vandy. Okay, they beat Bama. Okay. I know. I feel it. I know you do too. You cannot fool me. You can't. So we'll get to that here too. Let's get to a couple comments before we do get rolling. The 337 up in this hoe. Trey Patton saying 337, baby, go Tigers. Good to have you in here. Yeah, Andrew, that was probably what I was going to say, but didn't have the heart to do it. I'm not bringing your comment back up on this show. Can't do it because we do got to respect ourselves during the week. We can say do whatever we want on Saturdays. During the week, we got to somewhat be professional on this show. Christopher Westbrook says North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. You know, I was watching South Carolina film today, believe it or not. Dylan Stewart and Kennard and that defensive line. Man, I think that I'm going to tell you, I've been asked more questions this week about, A&M's got a really good D-line. No doubt, they do. South Carolina's defensive line is freaking insane, man. And you know what? You didn't give up a sack. So this is going to be the third really good D-line you faced. And maybe they get on you, maybe they don't. But I'm going to tell you, they are pretty good in the interior. Something that's very interesting and that we're going to talk about here tonight too. I was listening to Mike Elko today, and he said in his press conference that their interior defensive lineman, one of their interior defensive linemen, got his defensive player of the week. Going to be interesting, man. Going to be very, very, very interesting to see how that pans out. But we'll talk about that here tonight as well. Let's get to a couple of these. Donnie, always the 318-31 great showing out for your boy. You know you got to love it when the 318-31 great is in the building. Andrew says 318. Dale, good to have you in here. 901 says Chris Losmax, Covington, Tennessee. Don't get it confused with Covington, Louisiana. Candace is in Temple. Cadence, Temple, Texas. Sometimes I need glasses on this show. Mikey says on YouTube, is Chris Hilton finally going to play? I talked about this last night. We'll obviously see the injury report tomorrow when it needs to be released on what they think about him. And I'm sure Brian Kelly will be asked tomorrow morning on the SEC teleconference. With that being said, I will tell you what I know. What I know is that, and this has been on for 3 weeks, so I'll give him that. The thought was that Chris Hilton would be a go at A&M. Personally, what I have answered on that question has been, I need to see it. I have a lot of faith in a lot of people, staff, player, coaches, family members, a lot of faith. But there comes a time where real has to be real, and we got to see some things happen here. It will be interesting to see how Chris performs, but I will say this. I don't expect Chris to come in and be like dominant. You're going to have to use him in situations. So if he goes out there and has like 7 catches, either something went vastly right and they just had a connection and dude's coming on the scene, or something went very wrong, like Kyron Lacey went down, you were getting beat, you threw the ball around, and Chris Hilton got in there. So yeah. I don't know. We'll see. But I do feel good I feel good that that's the news. I feel good that that's the news of where he may be. Kenny is in Beaumont, Texas. MP is in Houston. Andrew says, who has the better defensive line, A&M or South Carolina? At the current moment, I would say South Carolina. At the current moment. I don't think people fully understand how good they are. I really don't. Now, is Scorton really good? Yes. Stewart, Turner, Regas, are those dudes really good? Yes. Also, yes. Look, man, A&M's got some freak of natures on their defensive line. You did give up a sack to them a year ago, though. You didn't. So, if you had to ask my humble opinion, I think that overall South Carolina has proven against – so South Carolina's D-line has done it against LSU to some extent, right? We knew that they were really good. They played really good. South Carolina, they did against LSU, Ole Miss, Alabama, Oklahoma, which Oklahoma's O-line really sucks, but it's not necessarily a fair comparison. But, yeah, I mean, it's not like, a lot of people are poo-pooing on Alabama. I don't think their offensive line has vastly been an issue. I think the people that are very opinionated are saying it's been their issue. It hadn't been their issue. Play calling's been their issue. So, yeah. Just a Dude says, I hate Texas A&M. You know, it's something. I've heard some people that cover A&M this week. Already, I say this week. It's Tuesday. I've heard some people. They're like, "Oh no, this is just another game for us." Okay, all right. Y'all go ahead and say, "Okay, it's just another game for us." I ain't buying that for a minute because y'all know the hype and vibe that will be going around if A&M beats LSU. Y'all know what's going to be happening there. It's going to be intense, man. And I'm not talking about camping. So, yeah. All right, one more, then we really do got to get rolling. Anthony says, Blake, what do you think is the difference in Elko having success in year one versus Dumbo couldn't get it done in 6 years? Number one, I think that he hired a really good staff, a better staff than what Jimbo did. Outside, I think sometimes when you have these situations at a place like A&M, you want a defensive-minded head coach when you're getting that much defensive personnel that's really good and that they can spend money and go in the portal. And I just think Elko right now is built for today's game, right? Like I think he's built for right now. I think he's built for the future. And I think A&M with him, and I said this when he got hired, if he can maintain and continue to have a really good offensive coordinator, I think A&M will have success. Are they playoff every year worthy, or are they even close to? Are they just an 8-9 win team? I don't know that. But how much are we overblowing the Mizzou win? There are a lot of questions that go into this, right? Tons of questions that go into this. And we're going to see how good they are on Saturday. We're going to see how good they are on Saturday. I will say this too. I think you're the best team by far that they've played. And the best, I could make the argument, the second best overall offense that they faced was last week in Mississippi State. Yeah, I said it. Because it ain't Notre Dame. It's not Bowling Green. And right now, guys, it's not really Mizzou for me. They can't run the football effectively like they want to. They can't throw it around. Brady Cook, who we're going to talk about tonight, which is a big deal. Brady Cook against A&M was 13 of 31. Okay. 13 of 36. Yeah, 13 of 36. Excuse me. He was 11 of 13 though when he didn't get pressured. So we'll see. All right, I got to get rolling. Everybody do us a favor. Hit the like and share. Share to all those groups. If you're on Facebook, share to all of those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell, wherever you listen to podcasts. Rate, review, and subscribe. Let's talk about our good friends over at betonline.ag, our good friend Tyler Alexander over at LPT Realty, and our good friends over at J&J Exterminating. Since we're speaking about our good friend Tyler Alexander, I just want to mention, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, look no further than my guy, Tyler Alexander. With years of experience in our community, Tyler knows the market inside and out. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or looking for an upgrade, he'll guide you in every step of the way possible. We're going to give you his number right now. Call him, man. I'm telling you, my man's really good. So we'll see you on the other side. Stay with us. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
J&J has protected Louisiana homes and businesses for over 60 years.
Call him today, make the pests go away. J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
All right. Side note. Very, very random, but I saw somebody just post on Twitter during the break of a photo of Michael Keaton doing this emoji, like saying, bring it on. You can tell the age of a person when you ask him who is the real Batman. For me, it's Michael Keaton. I love Christian Bale. The Dark Knight was amazing. But I am just going to say the real Batman, Michael Keaton. And y'all know that. Y'all 1,000% know he's the real Batman. You're not here to talk about Batman. I saw the post. But I don't go very random too often. LSU versus Texas A&M this weekend. On Tuesdays, we normally break down teams. We go out and look at our opponent saying, hey, what have we seen from our opponent this week through the entire season so far? Now, at the beginning of the season, we didn't really have a lot of sample size. Like, there was nothing to go off of USC. There was really nothing to go, maybe a game or two with South Carolina. Like, man, how good are they? They just beat the dog manure out of Kentucky, but then they played around with Old Dominion. Who is South Carolina? Do they actually have a pulse? You get to Ole Miss. Well, Ole Miss hasn't really played anybody, besides that Kentucky team that we just talked about, and they got beat by them. Then Ole Miss comes into Baton Rouge with the playoffs and everything and a playoff berth and a national championship potential team on the line. They lose to LSU, who lost to now what might be a 5-7 overall football team in USC. But I look at A&M and I look at their strengths and what I say are not necessarily weaknesses, but things that LSU can exploit. Let's look at Texas A&M. Guys, their secondary, Texas A&M's secondary has been what I refer to as leaky. Like, and I'm not, I know what some of you are going to say. If you watch this show, massive pause, I get all that. I think that they've been very leaky at times, specifically what goes on with them at safety. And, yeah, I got it, guys. I think that even in the fact that they have not faced a team, meaning A&M, who has been able to throw the football like you can, I still think that you can get over on them. LSU's got to exploit the secondary in the passing game. I think we saw last week, like, hey, man, if you're going to play off coverage, which A&M played a lot of last week against Mississippi State, now you're going to have to defend and play these wide receivers a little bit closer than maybe you normally would. And can guys like Des Ricks, who is a very talented player for 4 straight quarters, if you're going to go intermediate game, How well and effective can he tackle a guy like C.J. Daniels or Kyron Lacey? Now, you might remember Des Ricks. LSU was definitely after him in recruiting. But I look at that secondary, and I think that LSU that has got to be their area of strength this week. So let's talk about it. A&M is 50th in the country in passing yards allowed this year. We were like, well, Blake, what are you talking about? I mean, they hadn't been too bad. They're 50th. Look at the offenses that they face. Like, I look at Notre Dame, they're 111th in passing yards this year with Riley Leonard. They don't throw the football around like Mike Denbrock did a year ago. I look at Missouri. Well, let's look at Missouri. What's the worst thing that they're doing right now offensively? Oh, yeah, it's passing yards. They can't throw the football around. Something is disconnected, and it's specifically coming on pressure on Brady Cook. That teams have been able to get him over and over and over again. Auburn did it. A&M did it. Hell, even Vanderbilt did it. And that's why Missouri had to beat them in overtime. I look at A&M, and I see a secondary that I don't know can hang on for 4 straight quarters. Maybe they can. But I don't know that because I don't think that I've seen them tested in a situation enough where you can say that you know that for a fact. It is just something that I see on film, something that I don't think that has been fixed for A&M as much as Mike Elko wants to discuss about it. I think you can win, and I think you can win a lot if you continue to do what you did last week. Garrett has going to have to be very good with decision-making this week. Because it is of my opinion, if he takes what A&M gives him, there could be a situation later in the game where you start forcing the ball down the field and you start connecting. Now, I think they're going to tackle well in space. I think Mike Elko is one of the best defensive minds in all of college football. You know, ironically, it's funny. Some of you thought before Mike Elko went to Texas A&M, even though that he was the head coach of Duke and you were looking for a DC, his name by fans was tossed around because of how effective he had been at Notre Dame and at A&M and at Duke. If you play with the cohesiveness that you did last Saturday, you're going to win this football game. That is their area of weakness. That has been their disconnect. That has been their chink in the armor, and they haven't faced anybody like you that can test it. You can't have false start penalties. You cannot do stupid things. I think you have the ability. Brady Cook was 11 of 13 for 126 yards and a touchdown when he was not pressured by A&M pass rushers a couple of weeks ago. His O-line is boo-boo. Baby, it's boo-boo. It's bad. It's very bad. With that being said, one thing that I know is a massive strength for you this year, yeah, your O-line's had some mess-ups in the run game. Man, they've been protecting Garrett very good. Very, very good. Only getting up 2 sacks all year. It's pretty damn good. Brady Cook was also 13 of 36 in that game because he got knocked around all night. So we'll see. Texas A&M with a look. I think when I look at them defensively, their secondary is the issue. But another thing in transitioning here a little bit, one thing that is very true with them, they're the Coca-Cola version, philosophy-wise, of what Arkansas wanted to do against you last week. Remember when we talked about last week, like, hey, man, Arkansas is one of the top 10 teams in the country in time of possession. Their overall philosophy is that they don't want to go fast. They're going to huddle up in some occasions, which they did on Saturday even, being down as much as they were. They want to keep the ball away from you. There's not a lot different here. There's not a lot of difference here. It's the same situation going on here with A&M. Guys, they're 25th in the country on third down. They were top 10 last week, but Connor Wigman had a really bad day. And I'm talking about really bad day on third down. And they dropped down to 25th. The reason they have been converting at such a high rate on third down offensively and why it's appeared that they have been kind of physically dominating teams, which they have been, it's because when they're getting in these 3rd and 3 type of situations and running the football and getting like 6 yards, which is a great gain, but it's not anything massive, fans and pundits look and say, you know what, bro? They're just lining up and punching dudes in the mouth. They're getting in 3rd and manageable more times than not. Teams have allowed to and did not scheme around having massive or trying to have massive amounts of success on first down in the running game against A&M. The reason that A&M beat Arkansas, the reason that A&M was close to knocking off Notre Dame is because when they got in 3rd and short or 3rd and 5 at max situations, guys, they're going to throw an out route or a stick route or a slant to somebody on third down and keep the chains moving. Guys, they want to methodically move the ball down the field. So I bring all that up for this. You got to have lots of success in the running game on first down. Because what I've seen from A&M is they'll line up, they're running for 4. No problem. No problem. They'll line it up and run it for 6. No problem. Okay. Can't keep letting that happen, but okay. I mean, 6-yard gain. Okay. Let's see what happens next. But they keep doing it over and over and over and over and over again. And they get in these short and medium situations, and you're thinking to yourself, like, damn, man, why have they continued to be so good? Because they're converting on all of them. And they're running the football, which makes you think, like, hey, man, they're tough nose. They're punching you right in the mouth. They don't care. And you know what? If they got to throw something, they're going to just toss it around. And, you know, if it's 2nd and short, like if they got a good run and it's 2nd and 3, they're going to throw an inside fade route to Noah Thomas in the back of the end zone. He's 6'6", bang. Or the corner of the end zone, bang. It's what they've been doing. You got to have a lot of success on first downs. Guys, they rarely, and I mean rarely, throw the ball on first down. And when they do, they are telegraphing that, but look, man, we're not deceiving you. We're throwing the football. We're throwing the football. That has been their entire philosophy. And it is the heart of a defensive coach. Hey, man, let's run the football. Right? Like, we've had success. Let's run the football. I mean, my philosophy is if it's 2nd and 6, I don't have a lot of play calls for 2nd and 6. What am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do? What are you going to do? I don't know. I mean, he might run the ball again for another 3 yards. I'm like, shit, he's got 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2. Major Burns is a key for me this week. We'll talk about him on Thursday. Massive key for me this week is Major Burns. I think you can utilize him coming off the edge like you did against Ole Miss to help you and get big stops on first down. You know, Major Burns had 2 tackles against Ole Miss at the line of scrimmage, both of them on first down. I think that that's bigger than what people realize. Like, hey, man, yeah, it was a big play, I guess. I mean, it was 1st and 10, and he got tackled for no gain. Yeah, it's a big deal because then they had to start throwing the ball around, and they didn't really, without Trey Harris, and even with Trey Harris, I mean, they had some success, but you were tackling on the perimeter. So, yeah. Another thing when I look at A&M, so this is where their struggles have been too. If I'm A&M, one thing that they've been really good at has been on third down when they can do what they want to do. Man, it's really interesting. This year for A&M, I feel like that, like games like Bowling Green, I guess, is an example. They did technically have to come from behind against Mississippi State. However, when they've kind of, like the momentum of the game, when they've had to play some tempo and kind of get some things moving offensively and start playing with a lead or start coming back from behind, that's when their offenses have struggled. You know, Connor Wigman's 2 interceptions are glaring on the stat sheet, but they don't show everything that what happened last week. Guys, he had I call it a Garrett Nussmeier game, where dude made some elite throws, but man, the mistakes. Guys, he almost got picked off 5 times. If that were anybody else other than Mississippi State, he has 5 picks. I swear to God, it was bad. You know, Mike Elko was asked about that this week in his press conference. Go check it out if you'd like. He's like, hey, Mike, what are you telling me? Mike's like, take care of the football. Take care of the football. Play defense. Take care of the football. Uh-huh. And I think Garrett is better at what he's doing right now than Wigman, but you get my drift. They don't like to play catch-up. And no, I'm not talking about Hines. They do not like playing catch-up. So when I look at A&M and I see the start that LSU had the week before against Arkansas, guys, you got to have that same type of approach. You have to. I don't know if A&M can play from behind. Now, I will say their running game does scare me a little bit. What's the health status of Chase Basantis? I don't know. They're big tackle. I don't know. What I do know is, guys, they're good. They're good. They're a good physical football team. You're going up against a team that you're like, man, I'm glad the bye week is right after this so that I can get a little bit of rest after, playing them. I just think that they have areas that you can exploit, that you're really good at. Pass rush, you got a really good O-line that can block. Third down, Blake Baker has been very effective on third down. Your sack rate has been insane. Guys, you're top 5 in sacks. I'm going to tell you, man, this run defense for LSU, I'm going to keep spitting it out. 33rd in run defense this year. Take away those couple of runs against South Carolina, and I hate that argument. If you take that out and look at the totality of LSU, take the one from Ole Miss away. The totality of what LSU has been through a 3.5 quarter game in the run game, guys, they've been really good. So I think it's good on good there. So we'll see. All right, let's get to our man, Chris Gordy. He's going to be joining us here. Really looking forward to getting Chris back on. It was really fun the last time. Let me get to a quick break. He joined us on the other side. Stay with us.
J&J has protected Louisiana homes and businesses for over 60 years.
Call him today, make the pests go away. J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
Guys, I want to talk to you about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company. Are you facing tough times due to an injury from a car accident, navigating the complexities of divorce, or purchasing a new home? At the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company, they understand the challenges you're going through, and they are here to help. The lawyer team of Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, along with Morgan Daniels, have the experience and proven track record to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600 to schedule a free consultation at their brand new office located in historic downtown Ponchatoula. They're also doing a special, the AYS special. If you're refinancing or closing on a home in Southeast Louisiana, request the Drake Title Company to handle your closing. If you mention Blake Ruffino and AYS, you're going to receive a $400 discount on title fees. Again, give them a call at 985-386-7600. Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on by. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
We're back. We are indeed back. Our good friend Chris Gordy joining us. Good evening, good sir. How are you?
What's going on, man? Good to be on with you. It's a crazy matchup here for LSU A&M. It's I didn't think at the start of the year, looking ahead, this would be the game of the week in the SEC, but it's turned out to be that.
It has, Chris. And look, a lot of people ask me and have been asking me, we had you on before the season. They were like, Blake, can you bring him back? I'm like, hell yeah, because it's LSU and Texas A&M. I know that you know a lot about this conference, and we'll go around the conference a little bit. But, man, you know that I got to get to you about LSU versus A&M. When you look at them, what do you think of them?
Well, it's good on good, right? I mean, A&M has been one of the best teams running the football, not just the SEC, but in the country. And, number 2 in the SEC in total rushing attack, LSU number 2 in the SEC in passing attack. So it's good on good. It's funny. I think this game's going to fly by because I think A&M's going to run the football and try to get the clock going. I think LSU, they're going to throw the ball a lot, but I think, it's going to be methodical. I think they're going to try to make some big plays. And I think, it could be score. And, maybe this thing turns into a shootout. But I know A&M's MO is going to be to run the clock. They want to run the ball, get this clock moving. And to me, this is a big, big test for Connor Wigman at A&M. It's crazy that he's been there 3 years already. But the guy, I think he's only played in something like 13 games. In his college career. Like
right.
He's basically played the equivalent of a full season in his 3rd year now. So the guy's just battled injuries and had his issues, but he's back healthy now. And talking to some folks at A&M, they're kind of curious to see how he responds too. Because again, the run game's been good enough to carry them against Mizzou, the win at Mississippi State last week. But Wegman did throw 2 picks last week, and I hate to get into the hypothetical, oh, you almost did this, but he really almost had a couple more interceptions.
I just said that right before you came on. I swear to God. I was like, bro, he could have had 5 picks last week.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a big, big game for the LSU DBs, who I still think, I'm not 100% confident in. I think they haven't truly, been, the Ole Miss test was a big one, but other than that, I still have some questions on how they defend. This could be a tough, hostile environment. So, I think Blake Baker's done a great job of kind of figuring out who does what well. I know it's the thing we've been talking about, but like Harold Perkins, the injury's been a blessing in disguise. There's no trying to fit him in here or there. Everybody knows what they do and knows what they do well, and just go do it. Don't worry about you coming out, this guy coming in and all this. Just go play your role. And it's worked out great with Major Burns doing what he's doing, Sage Ryan doing what he's doing. And I like it, but I'm still, again, is there a question mark still in the PJ Woodlands, the Ashton Stamps? Yeah. Obviously Zy Alexander back is a big plus, but on the flip side too, again, A&M has not their receivers. Like I thought there were so many articles written this offseason about Noah Thomas and how he was emerging as this go-to threat for A&M, and he was poised for a big season. And it's crazy. He's not even at 300 yards on the season. He's only got 3 touchdowns. So, him, Ja'Day Walker, Terry Bussey, of course, who, LSU was recruiting. Sounds like he's going to be okay. He got banged up last week. Mike Elko said yesterday he'll be a go. But yeah, man, this is just a really interesting. Like, as much as people want to go, oh, is LSU for real? I think we're all looking at A&M saying, is A&M for real? You got to give Mike Elko credit for what they've done so far to get to this point. But I still think this A&M team is more of a 9-3, 8-4 type team. And I think the losses are going to come here. Although their schedule is very forgiving, man. I mean, a road trip at South Carolina, they get New Mexico State, they're at Auburn, and they're home for Texas. Like, can they go 10-2 with a win here? Yeah, absolutely they can. But I just feel like first year for Mike Elko, he's having great success, but it's the SEC, man. We eat our own. They're going to lose a game along here somewhere that they're not supposed to. And I just look at Brian Kelly in 3 years at LSU. Like, this is the year you're supposed to take that leap forward. And it's even easier now. It used to be you had to be a top 4 team. Now you only got to be you got to be in the top 12. Like, so I think this is a massive game for Brian Kelly, knowing that LSU's lost the last 2 times they've gone to College Station. Like, remember we laughed for like 8 years when A&M kept going, it's a rivalry. It's a rivalry. Every time we come there, we win. Now it's kind of a rivalry. It started with that stupid 74-72 overtime game. But
right.
To me, this is about LSU, because you don't want to come out of this going, we've lost 3 straight in College Station. You don't want that.
Chris, I equate that to your last point there. I equate it to, remember when LSU going into last year's Bama game, they were 2-2 against Bama the last 4 years, and you're like, I mean, I know we've had our issues, but we've won the SEC West twice, and so have you, right? Like, I mean, it's either been you or us. So this game meant a lot. And I feel like, to your point, the last 4 years, especially for A&M, but LSU fans now trying to get into that because it's like, hey, man, to your point, we ain't won there since Barack Obama was the president. I mean, like that's been a moment. So I think you're right there. Chris, I want to start on some strengths that you maybe see with A&M. Maybe some weaknesses, but let's start with some strengths. What do you think that they just do really well all over the place?
Well, the one thing I'll say, first off, is Randy Bond has been phenomenal as a kicker. He's perfect on his extra points this year. He's 13 of 15 on field goals. He's a big weapon. And I just want to put that out there, because if A&M's got it, if LSU's defense does a good job of getting stops and forcing him to kick long field goals, I mean, he's 4 for 4 from 30 to 39. He's 6 for 8 from 40 to 49. So, that's a secret weapon, a nice weapon to have. And, it's in this league, you want to put points on the board whenever you can. And if A&M is able to do that, it's going to make it a little bit difficult on LSU. So to me, that first part is a strength. Now for LSU, obviously their kicking game has been a strength. Special teams player of the week for Ramos. So, but yeah, I mean, the other part is just how great they've run the football. I think, it was weird under Jimbo Fisher. They recruited well on that offensive line. They had 4- and 5-star talents. They had kids that were draft picks, but yet it felt like at times they couldn't get the push that they wanted. And Mike Elko, he knew what he wanted. He wanted to be tough and physical up front defensively, and he wanted to be a physical running team. And that's what A&M has finally been able to do in the post-Jimbo Fisher era here. And, look, it's funny, Blake, all this talk in the preseason about they lose Reuben Owens. And Reuben Owens, I thought, was primed for a big year. 5-star stud recruit from just outside the Houston area here where I am. And he was going to play this year. But don't get it twisted. Le'Veon Moss and Amari Daniels were still 1-2 on the depth chart. And I kept telling people that because it happened the same week C.J. Baxter went down for Texas. And by the way, Texas is really hurting without Baxter. If they had him last week, I think they're in that game with
I agree.
But, we equated it to the same. And I said, look, God bless Reuben Owens. I think he's going to be a great back down the road. But A&M's bread and butter is still Amari Daniels and Le'Veon Moss. And both those guys have been phenomenal, particularly Le'Veon Moss. He's emerged as the workhorse, really, with almost 700 yards rushing and 8 rushing touchdowns on the season. So that's where it starts. That's where LSU's MO has to be this week. Make a bold prediction here. I think it's going to be another big week for Whit Weeks. I mean, the guy's just a tackling machine already, but I think they're going to test LSU's interior front too. And I think they've done okay there. This mix of Ahmad Bro and JVR Suggs and Gio Paez and all these different dudes, they're making it work. I thought as soon as Jacoby and Guillory went down for the season, I said, oh man, they're screwed. Teams are going to come right up the gut on them. And they have done a good job of finding guys to fill those gaps. And so this is a monster week for those guys. The interior of this defensive line, Bo Davis, Even on the edge, Kevin Peoples, those guys are going to be preaching. We've got to be stout up front and slow down that run, because if you can force, I'm telling you right now, if Connor Wegman is having to throw the ball on 3rd and 7s and 3rd and 8s, it's advantage LSU as opposed to the 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 3s.
Chris, I mean, it's so wild, man, because literally this is exactly what I talked about. It was my number one point coming into tonight's show, and just talking about hey, man, you got to have massive amounts of success on first down against A&M. You have to. I equate it to, the Major Burns resurgence or emergence, however you want to, whatever vocabulary word that you want to use. Chris, he had 2 tackles on first down that went for no gains. Ole Miss got no points in that drive, right? So, I mean, look, there's things about stopping them on first down that I agree. Weaknesses that you see for A&M?
It's to me, it's developing that passing game that is a true threat. I think that's kind of been the problem with Wegman. And they threw it well against Mizzou. Terry Bussey had his breakout game. I think he had 76 something, receiving yards that day. Right. But to me, they haven't used their tight ends much at all. I thought Donovan Green was a big kid from a year ago, a freshman that got hurt. I thought he was going to be play a big role. He doesn't have a catch this year. It's weird to me. I thought that they would be throwing the ball a little bit more. Moose Muhammad, who killed LSU 2 years ago, they barely use him. I mean, it's just been a little bit interesting to see how they've deployed that receiving core. But again, I think play action I think LSU knows they want to run the ball, so that can set up the play action game for Wegman, and they can maybe take some deep shots. But I like LSU's defense, how they've been playing this week. I mean, Taylon Green, I know he was banged up last week, and Jaquindon Jackson leaving the game certainly was advantage LSU, but that was still Bobby Petrino calling the plays. And I think that they did a fantastic job defensively. They gave up some chunk passing plays here and there, but I don't know if A&M's going to do that. I don't know if that's going to be their MO this week. I think they want to just pound the rock and get to that second level with the run game. So, we'll see. Again, the 2 interceptions is what stands out to me with Wegman last week. And, if he's facing, put it this way, if LSU's getting some good pass rush off the edge and in the obvious passing downs, and Braden Swinson's doing his thing and they're chasing down Wegman and forcing him to get rid of the ball, again, advantage LSU, force him to make a bad mistake. I think it's very simple, Blake. I think LSU can turn the ball over once or twice, and still win this game because of the way Nuss flings it. If A&M turns the ball over once or twice, I think LSU wins hands down.
Dude, we're right on the same. Me and you are the same. Even Chris, I equate this to a ball. A&M is expecting to go into a bar and throw hands, right? They're expecting the fight. They're putting on their cowboy boots, their Levi jeans, they're tucking in their shirt, okay, cowboy button-up shirt, and they want to get in a fight. And they want to. I agree with you. I think they're going to say, "Hey, LSU, you got that dog in you." And I'm all right now. Dude, Ahmad Bro has been fantastic. So I mean, okay, all right. Don't test the voodoo. Don't test the voodoo in this week. That's all I'm going to say. Chris, what does it mean before we move on? I want to get to your thoughts before we leave you on the SEC. But what does it say for any team if they're the victor? What are our thoughts about LSU and Brian Kelly if they win? But specifically, too, I mean, bro, what are we talking about with A&M if they beat LSU this week, too?
Yeah, it would be massive for them. And, I was talking with some folks at College Station earlier today, and they were saying, if he wins this one, I mean, I think you're talking, no offense to Clark Lee, but I think we're talking Mike Elko, potentially SEC Coach of the Year. And in a year where you add Texas and Oklahoma, you go to 6 teams, you eliminate the East and the West, and A&M could get to Atlanta. I mean, that would be huge. They've never been. They've been in this conference for over a decade now. They've never been. So it would be massive. I just the thing that kind of sucks, Blake, is the eliminating of the SEC East and the West, because you realize this game would be, with Bama already with 2 losses, this game would be for SEC West supremacy. You win this and you're in the driver's seat to go to Atlanta to represent the West.
Right.
East and West gone now. You get into head-to-head tiebreakers and all this, and Georgia's sitting up there, and maybe Texas is, they win out. So, I mean, it's, all that kind of stuff plays into it. But, yeah, if this were still the days of the SEC West, massive. You would literally be like LSU 2 years ago when they beat Bama on the Mason Taylor, overtime. They were in the driver's seat. They went and lost at A&M. It didn't matter. They'd already punched their ticket to Atlanta. That don't happen anymore. It's wide open. So you got to win as many games as possible to try to get there. And, we can get into the whole, is there more of a benefit to not go to Atlanta and not potentially take a third loss and just use that as a bye week to get to host a playoff game the next week? All that's going to come down the road. But, certainly, again, this is to me about the upper hand, still be the lone undefeated team in SEC play. So, man, I keep looking at it and saying this is such a much bigger game for Brian Kelly, because I don't know if he's going to be this more talented next year. I don't know if they're going to be this much more talented 2 years from now. They should, right? They're going to recruit well, but for A&M, they're playing with house money. Like, they would have taken, if you would have told any A&M fan, would you take 9-3 this year? There was absolutely. That's better than the mess we just had with Jimbo Fisher. So for A&M, they're not going to crush him if he loses this game. For Brian Kelly, you lose this one, you still got Bama. You still, 9-3. That'd be really disappointing for an LSU finish from where they are sitting right now.
Yeah, and man, I tell you, I don't know if you want to go to Atlanta, Chris, and why would you want to play Georgia in a loss and then host a playoff game the following week?
Well, and this is the debate I've gotten into with several people. I've said, if you're 10-2 and you go to Atlanta and you play Georgia and they beat you soundly and you take your third loss, are you in the playoff? I've had several people say yes. I've had several people say no. The argument is, if you lose in the SEC championship game, you're the second best team in the conference. So regardless, if you lose by a close margin or you get blown out, you still have reign as the second best team in the SEC. Yet I think the committee will look at it and go, well, you have your third loss and 10-2 Mizzou sitting there, or 10-2 Bama sitting there, or 10-2 Tennessee sitting there, 10-2 Texas. I think those teams are going to jump them. Again, that's for the committee to decide. But that's where I say that it might behoove you to not go to Atlanta, because again, win an SEC title, who cares? Like, I know you get the first round bye, awesome, but like, you still got to go win playoff games. It doesn't, hanging a banner to win SEC championship. It will start to feel like the SEC championship is in basketball. Hey, quick poll question to all your listeners: who won the SEC basketball, SEC championship in basketball last year? No one remembers. You don't care about that. It's about getting the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, they really don't. Because I got to be honest with you, I don't remember. The only reason I remember that Tennessee beat LSU in the SEC baseball championship last year because LSU was in it.
Right.
What was it, Vandy that won it 2 years ago in baseball? Maybe it's been different with baseball. I don't know.
Wasn't it Jay Johnson? Like one of the years he was like thinking about, we're going to rest this guy because who really cares about playing? It was almost like they were in the SEC tournament. They made a run. Yeah, and they were worried about hosting a regional or super regional. I was like, if we win the SEC, great, but who really cares? That's where it's gotten with the SEC championship games. It matters less now in football than it ever did.
Yeah, I agree. One final question, get you out of here. Thoughts? It's so open-ended. But thoughts on halfway through the season, what's happened in the SEC? What have you seen? What do you think?
Yeah, it's parity from top to bottom. And I said this last week or 2 weeks ago that I thought 1 through 15, anybody could beat anybody on any given day, with 16 being Mississippi State. Well, then we saw Mississippi State score 31 against Georgia 2 weeks ago and scored, a couple touchdowns against A&M. That was a one-score game with A&M with 7 minutes left to go in the game. This Michael Van Buren kid, he's a true freshman in this Jeff Lebby system, and he's playing his ass off. He's got 3 touchdowns in each of the last 2 games. That kid, picture what he's going to be next year or 2 years from now. They're going to be a problem. So I think Mississippi State pulls off an upset somewhere along the schedule. I think they're going to win an SEC game before the season's over, and that will, I think, prove the point of literally this was a year in the SEC where 1 through 16, anybody could have beaten anybody on any given day. And to me, this is what makes the SEC great. We go back to the early 2000s. It was fun because LSU won in 2003. And then here comes Florida and Urban Meyer, and they win 2. And then Auburn comes along, and then Bama comes along. But then, it stopped getting fun, Blake, because it was Bama. No. It was fun when everybody was taking a turn, and everybody kind of jumped up and all this. And then Georgia kind of came along, and Kirby and it was Georgia. It was like, No, we don't want just one team to dominate. It's more like LSU's in the perfect model. LSU's like, hey, once every 4 to 5 years, we get to or we win a championship. Like, that's where you should be for fun of the SEC. Right. And that's what your realistic expectations should be. The Bama expectations of championship every year, like, no, that's stupid. Like, you can't do that. Only Nick Saban could do that. But, like, I hope the SEC gets back to that. I'm not saying cheer for your brethren and cheer for other SEC teams, but it's just more fun when because then you can claim real conference dominance. You know what most haters have said the last 2 years? When you go SEC, we're the best conference. They go, bro, it's just Bama and Georgia.
Right.
You know?
Right. Well, I'm with you on that. I think that's really real well characterized. All right, Chris Gordy, buddy, I know where they can, and it's on here, but tell them where they can find you, and I appreciate you joining us tonight, man.
Yeah, just search Locked On SEC wherever you get your podcast, talking all things Southeastern Conference 5 days a week and covering the whole SEC. Yes, I went to LSU, but I'm biased. I call it like I see it. When LSU sucks, we say they suck. I did a live show from the field in Las Vegas when they lost to USC and said, what the hell's going on here, Brian Kelly? But great rebound for them. Great rebound for Mike Elko losing to Notre Dame. And it's going to be a hell of a game. We're going to be talking a lot about it this week on Locked On SEC.
I appreciate you joining us, buddy. Thank you.
Thanks, Blake.
All right, that's Chris Gordy. Always fantastic, man. I got to be real with you. He's probably one of my favorite guests. Maybe we should bring him on more. He's definitely one of my favorite guests. Just got to mention that. All right. Let's do this. Let me get to a quick break. We'll come back. Hashtag Ask Blake. Thoughts, questions, concerns at the end of this. Then we'll get out of here. Stay with us. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
All right. We do have some questions, thoughts, concerns. Dorian says, Ask Blake, I've heard Chris Hilton was held out because of a situation with a media member. Not true. Not an injury. Any truth to that? No. Nola P says, Arkansas scared me more on offense. A&M's defense and the crowd scares me more. Just hope we don't have a letdown. I'm with you. I just am starting to get a feeling that we'll talk about on Thursday. But yeah, I think that you can do some good things here. I really do. H-Town Creole says, I don't see this team losing again this season. 8-4, not beating BK 3 years in a row. Bama is straight garbage. Milroe regression is notable. I'm not saying that they're not losing again. Because, and you could lose this week. Guys, I'm going to tell you, y'all can hate on me all you want to. That is perfectly fine. If you have games where you turn the football over, you will get beat. And you have had a bad propensity of turning the ball over this year. You're one of guys, because you didn't have a turnover last week, you were on. Actually, I'll just say it like this. Last week, you were one of the worst teams in the country in turnovers offensively. You can't have that many, man. You can't. Make defense great again on YouTube says, ask Blake straight up, how do you think this game plays out? Does this game look similar to the last week? And no, I don't think it looks similar to last week. I think that Arkansas is a better team. We actually saw that being played on the field, and A&M beat Arkansas. So no, I don't. And by the way, they had a backup true freshman quarterback in the game too. It's just for me. I said this tonight. It doesn't matter. I have a feeling about this team that if they continue, there's either one of two things that are going to happen. Guys, either they're going to regress offensively the way that they did, and they're going to turn the ball over, and makes bad reads, and he gets picked. You line up, you can't run the football, or you're going to see a lot of things similar to what you saw a week ago. And it's gonna be more development. And you can be like, all right, okay. And look, man, I don't care how many touchdowns Nuss has on the year. If he continues with this wide receiver core to continue to incorporate the intermediate passing game, I think you're going to be fine. It's that when guys throwing the ball over 10 yards statistically, or let's just give it 12 yards. Statistically, your conversion rate on those throws drops off by like 25 to 30%. So all these stat nerds want to come up in here and say this, and this. Okay, that is fine. However, you want guys, people are enamored by people who push the ball down the field. A lot of us are. It's what made Joe Burrow great, and it's what made Jaden great. It's what makes the greats greats. However, when you're not connecting on them, it's a big miss because then you're 2nd and 10 or you're 3rd and 8. Those type of situations are really bad. Sometimes you got to take the checkdowns. And guys, an out route, a hitch route is not a check down. Guys, that's an 8, 9, 10-yard play. So what you're getting to the end zone in 8 or 9 plays versus 6 or 7 plays? What does 2 more plays matter to me? It doesn't. If you're continuing to methodically move the ball down the field, you're not special enough on the outside specifically. You're not as special as what you've seen these outright elite teams do. A lot of these teams had at least one big-time alpha wide receiver, and maybe that is Kyron. Maybe Kyron shows out the rest of the year. I don't know that. What I do know is I feel like it's going to be one or two things. All right. We'll see y'all soon, man. I got to get out of here. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Y'all have a good one. Peace.